Just want to inhale and exhale that breath of life as I'm blessed another day to come in back to this realm, this dimension, from resting. Some people say from being dead for a moment or the hours or rejuvenation or whatever. Peace, power, and love from Blackanized, international Nubian consciousness. Conscious chess moves. This game of life that we play is a serious matter because it's not a game. The reality of it is we must maintain and sustain ourselves in this paradigm that we find ourselves in 2017. An establishment of manifesting our thoughts into reality as a unified, organized community or infrastructure. In this political climate, politics as usual or politics as usual, keeping us off balance as a people as they implement their plans of development, spiritual, economically, educationally, agriculturally. Every aspect of our livelihood is being orchestrated by those in the higher echelons of society. We have to be aware of that. We have to understand that. We have to cooperate with each other so that we can be ready for whatever does come down the pipeline. On the 23rd day of presidential path of power, or implementation of the power or ideology that they are trying to establish. A lot of people say it's about the money. Go get the money. It's always about the money and not about the people. But I hope it be one and the same. Get the money to help the people, to establish foundations and organizations that's geared towards uplifting of the people instead of individuals. That is the right attitude that we should have as a people in this day and time in our communities nationwide. Might as well say worldwide because it's a pandemic and it's international. It's imperialistically motivated from a locality of mindsets of a group of people that's have their own interests at heart for whatever reason that they don't be humane in their ideology or humanistic in their ideology to the point of or reference that they, it is said, want to get rid of billions of people through apparatus of viruses, wars, self-inflicted genocide by design, and all these things. That's why we must take control of our beings, develop self-discipline and self-control, become teachers, become bearers of information, of righteous information, and instill that in our communities, within ourselves first. Learn. After you learn, depart the knowledge and impart the knowledge. We can't not be indoctrinated to accept what is before us. We have to go black into our blackness, into African spirituality, and establish that in our lives. Whatever we may practice, how we worship and things of that nature, doesn't have nothing to do with us unifying in our culture arena, culturally, spiritually, esoterically. We got to go back to our essence, our innate character, our inner verse through inner standing. It got to be done that way. There's no getting around it. We as a people have to come back to ourselves and understand who we are as a people culturally and grasp that identity of who we are, not through no indoctrination, not suffering from social narcotics or the Willie Lynch syndrome or white supremacy and institutionalized racism, which is a social narcotics that be injected into our minds and psychic through the educational system, which is a part of the institutionalized racism. Because the curriculum doesn't equate to uplifting us as a people culturally. It is equate to keeping us perpetrating this system, a system that is like, it's an illusion in a sense. It's a distorted reality. It's a manipulated reality that put you in a comfort zone as individuals, not as collective communities. Not cooperative, but competitiveness is what we taught on every level of our endeavor. That's why we must come into our own, teach and establish foundations of entrepreneurs to establish businesses so that we can hire our own. We had to get back to the Wall Streets that were around the country, from Oklahoma to Florida and all in between, North Carolina, Charlotte, where we had thriving cities, of us doing what we do, having our money circulating our communities. Whatever we do, we're the best at it. So we can establish the groundwork, the blueprint for establishment of our collective endeavor through partnership, collaboration, determination, and African-centric education. If we keep going through the same ringer, being caught on that spinning wheel of the Gerber, then we ain't going nowhere fast or slow. We're being stagnated spiritually, economically, and politically because we're not establishing a foundation for us, developed by us within this society. We have to develop an infrastructure through organization and unification. I know I'd be sounding redundant, but in the redundance, it has to be reiterated day after day until we get it. We have to purify ourselves. We have to clean up our own communities. And we have to be watchers in our community as a people, united. We have to watch for so many reasons because they taking our children right from under our eyes for whatever reason. Some people say sex range, some people say body parts, melanin. But the thing is, they're being taken. We got to stop that. That's why we got to be watchers in our community. Not slave catchers or no police. We just got to be a family. We got to be a village. We got to be protective of all our children as co-family members. It's not hard to do. Just got to open our hearts to it. We got to come out to churches and the masjids and come to the street and walk the beat We got to watch and see who not part of our community. We just have to be more watchful and focused to protect our own on all levels and to establish ourselves by creating programs and foundations, and so that we can develop the mindset of being entrepreneurs. And once we get money, how to use that money, invest the money, be wise in using our money, not blow it and splurging in this and getting big bottles of alcohol and, all that. It's wasteful. But we probably all been through that, through phases of our life and stuff like that. And some people want to go through it for the enjoyment of it or whatever. But in this day and time, being at war as we are, the silent war that is so subtle, we don't know that we're in a war until sometimes we get a sense of it when our young adults be trying to take each other's lives and stuff like that, and sometimes they're successful at that, or just maiming each other, for what reason? For control of a corner that's not being controlled by them, or selling drugs or whatever it is. It's not necessary, to take your brother's life that you've been around or whatever. We got to uplift our brothers in love and overcome the predatory, animalistic nature that we living by, and be strong for one another. Even in our sisters have to be strong, have to be more ladylike or womanlike, or goddesses or queens, and bring up that family. They're the first teachers of the family. We got to be supportive of our sisters and respect them and pay all homage to them and understand them truly. Don't try to belittle them or control them. In the same way as on with the sister towards the brothers, the kings, and the gods. We got to support each other in a naturalistic way, in the way of a balance of truth, harmony, and integrity. We have to grow into this, and we have to be disciplined, develop self-control. We have to develop our spirituality. We have to keep our temple clean, because it's a silent war on all levels. The food that we eat, the water that we drink, the frequencies and vibrations that they control, that have us out of tilted with ourselves and unbalanced, and then all that, and then the pictures that we see and hit our brains or minds, and whatever we put into our computer, which is our brain, it got to come out in word, action, or deeds. So if we don't put positive stuff in, then positive stuff is not going to come out. What we read, what we look at, and all these things have a profound effect on our character and personality. And we need to develop our character and personality on the lines of divine energy, from the aspect of what our ancestors left for us, and the guide signs, the light, the torch that they left for us of guidance, righteous guidance. We have to be righteous people, especially in this day and time. If you can't see it, then they really got control of your mind, politically or whatever. Even the people that's part of, I'm going to say, Neanderthal, or the European race that's in the Senate, that Roman Senate, that's what is based on Roman laws and maritime laws or whatever. When they talk about their own, when they talk about the president and the president cabinet, when they do it, then you know something is truly wrong. But we'll sit back and give them the chance and all that, whatever. If we decide to do that, we don't really have a say in the shot calling, as they would say. We just got to prepare ourselves for whatever come down the line, and we have to be unifying, organizing, and developing infrastructure to protect ourselves and our community for whatever come down the line. A lot of people be looking at this stuff like it's unreal, which is it's real, but we be looking at it like it's a television show or something like that because we've been programmed or whatever. And then when people say that things happen like FEMA, and they got FEMA camps and 10-foot by 10 cassettes and all that, there's a reason for that, but we don't think it's real. We think we're still viewing a movie or television. That's how they distort our reality. If we don't look beyond these five senses, we got to go into a spiritual context of divine energy, the frequency and vibrations of our inner self, of our divine nature. We got to tap into nature to be more perceptive in what's going on around us so that we can see what's going on around us and feel it, the vibrations of it, and be in tune with it. Because if we don't, we're going to get caught up in this tidal wave that's coming. It's coming down the line. It's coming one way or the other. If it doesn't come, that would be a blessing. But if we don't prepare for anarchy or police state, or maybe a little taste of a race war, but I don't think it'll go that far. Because them hillbillies, not all of them are in the dark. And not all Europeans are in the dark. Not all Niagathals are in the dark. Proof of it is when you see them and all that talking about each other in the light that they need to talk about each other, because they have to expose themselves of how they are in the system that they're in. I want to say good morning, Hotep, Ashe, and Assalamu Alaikum, peace to Alicia Banks. But we gotta realize everything, like they say, fake news, alternative facts. All this stuff is these new terms and terminology is to get around the real facts. So we can't get caught up in that. We got to be vigilant and observing. And I mean, don't get caught up in the propaganda, but you got to look at it and extract the truth from it. And you got to look at other sources of information, BCC, what's the other one? We got to look at international news. We got to, because they're going to give you another view of what's going on in this country, because inside this country, they playing games, total games, because they control the news media. They control what we get to see from CNN and NBC, all of them. All of them are in cahoots. Some of them give you a little more than others, but they're owned by the tyrants of this country, of this land, of this world. And we got to be aware of that. Yeah, BBC News. My fault. I said BCC is BBC. Thank you, sister. So that's what we have to do. We got to be, soldiers of the high essence of the divine energy that's in us. That we have to be soldiers of our ancestors, soldiers of this divine decree that makes us and allow us to be mentally free and spiritually free, and to try to attain economical freedom so that we can pool our resources and establish what we need in our communities. We need our athletes, we need our entertainers to come together and pool their resources, and let's build a Wall Street or whatever for us as a community nationwide, and be interconnected, connected as a people, knowing what's happening with each other, being more vigilant and watching our communities, overseeing the activities of our children, so that these body snatchers can't come in our community and snatch our children's, what's been happening lately, especially here in Washington, D.C., especially in Ward 8 of Washington, D.C. It's becoming an epidemic, and we got to stop it. And only we can stop it by being more watchful, more observant in our communities. See, we can't get caught up in always selling and being brought. We got to destroy that type of mentality, and we'll do anything for money, this fraudulent money. We got to come out of that conceptualized thinking, manipulation and indoctrination. We got to be more stronger in our disposition as spiritual beings, as in this physical body, in this temple. The spirituality that's contained with the energy of the Creator that's contained within this temple is what we must tap into. My sister, she said a couple of things. We got to support each other and prepare and protect each other. Focus should be on protection. It's establishment of a community, and when we establish a community, that entails everything: the protection, the education, the food, the spirituality, and that's what we must do as a people, as melanated people, black people, so-called African American people, all melanated people. We must heal first before we deal with outside of ourselves. We got to do that, because we've been through so much more than anybody else on the planet. Nobody been through what we've been through in the captivity of or so-called slavery here in America. And we got to heal from that. We still suffer from post-traumatic slave syndrome. And not only that, some of us from post-penal traumatic slave syndrome, because you're a slave when you're in a penal institution. And some of us come out of the war zones with a post-traumatic war zone thing that affects us mentally and spiritually, and have our equilibrium off balance. So we have to get in balance with and in tune with ourselves through naturally dealing with the things that naturally we can adhere to. The first and foremost thing, we got to go black to who we are culturally, our spirituality, African spirituality, so we can get in tune with the nature of things, because naturally is how we dealt with things. We got to understand that, because everything is based on genetics and natural occurrences, a divine occurrence, not synthetic, not man-made, not that type of manipulation. See, they trying to clone everything. They trying to create everything in their laboratories, and this is a fact. They really against nature, and they got a God complex. That's why we gotta watch our children, because they want to live forever. I'm talking about those in the high echelons of this deceptive, demonic type frame of reference that they have in sustaining themselves and worldwide. And it doesn't make any difference of who they deal with, because they know that. Let me rephrase that. It does make a difference, because we're the one with melanin that they need in our body parts, and they know we're the original people, and they know all these things about us more so than we know about ourselves. But the thing is that sometimes we don't be aware of what's going on around us, because they control everything that goes on around our perception of stuff. They've been manipulating through their mass media and mass mind control and all that, because they have the ability to do that, because they're masters of deception. And we're going through so many aspects of their debilitating us as a people. It's been for years, but now is the time for us to stop it. Right now, we must take a stand right now in this political climate, because they're trying to do something that seems like they're at war with themselves. So by them being at war with themselves, we have to step back, be observant, and make preparation for whatever come down the line, and allow them to do their thing against each other, like almost like the Union Confederate. But we was part of that. But this time we can't be part of the chaos and confusion. even though it may come towards us, if we establish ourselves, we'll be better able to prepare for it. And I want to say, in all reality and all truth of the breath that I breathe, and the life that I live for my people and the love of my people. As a black man, as a race man, I do this sincerely from my heart, and all I have to offer is my lineal wealth, my insight, my understanding, and my knowledge from a divine perspective, from the perspective of my ancestors, and not from institutionalized racism or being caught up in the social narcotics of white supremacy or white privilege or the willingness syndrome. To purify myself and my understanding of myself and my people is where I deal from, or my perspective of my actions, or how I deliberate and how I deal with my people. And I do this sincerely. I do this from my heart, and like I said, I ain't no celebrity. I'm not that, and I don't have no money and all that. I go on the plantation and sharecrop the clock, or whatever. I do that into whatever to sustain myself and my children. I'm a single parent and all that, but that's neither here nor there, because I'm the parent, extended family parent of all the children. And I love us as a race man, and we got to realize that there's a war going on to exterminate us as a people, because they don't need us no more like they needed us before. So the war is on all levels: psychological, educational, and spiritual. That's why we got to maintain and sustain ourselves on all those levels. We have to come together, and we, like I said, it's a silent war against us through years of indoctrination, years of injection of this white supremacy, white privilege type mentality that they try to get us to sell our souls and become like them, emulate them. When they be emulating us, they stole everything that they have in this system from us. We built the foundation of this system. It was on our backs and sweat and tears and death of our ancestors. And they don't want to give us the 40 acres and the mule because it was too big. Got some information that I came across that is 25 square blocks, that's 40 acres or whatever. But they said it, then they reneged on that. Then they don't want to give us reparations, but they gave the Chinese reparation, they gave the Jews reparation, they gave the Native Americans reparation, which is us. But they distorted that whole thing there. But we got to understand that. But we ain't looking out for no handout. We looking for the payout that you owe from our ancestors' work and all that. We gotta prepare. We gotta prepare for the worst, but look for the best. We live in the best. We establish the best in ourselves, but watch what's coming down the line, because it's in chaos. It's in turmoil. Their political system is in turmoil. You can see it. That's the 23rd day of this guy's president. I don't mean no disrespect to this guy, but what can I say? I ain't gonna be vulgar and call him no names and this and that. And he's not. I just can't disrespect this Nagathol, and I don't want to cuss at him and none of that. But you know for yourself, when you see what you see, that he ain't right for that seat. And his cabinet is not right because they out of place. It's like they playing Ring Around the Rosie, trying to get in their right spot. You got a person that's a neurologist. He in HUD. He's in houses. You got another person ain't dealt with education, but they on the board of education. You got another guy that's a known white supremacy, white nationalist. He at the top of putting stuff and ideas in this guy head, man. That's what we dealing with. It's a sickness. The sickness of is their own sickness that they suffer from. They suffer from white supremacy and white privilege. It's a sickness. Instead of dealing with the natural humanistic attributes of all humanity, they want to control everything, and they want to kill off billions of people. For what? But we just got to stay strong in the essence of love and spirituality, and the supreme love, a love supreme from a divine essence, and blessings. And I don't care where we go. We can go to the Christian church, the Baptist church, or we can go to the masjid or the synagogue. I say that we got to come together in that African spirituality and that one love, one aim, one purpose that our brother Marcus Garvey talk about. Yeah, and the sister made a statement. It's a pandemic. It's not only here in America. It's worldwide. That's why we got to make connections of all melanated people on the planet Earth. They say it's like 7 billion people, and they say it's about 86% or something more of us melanated people, so they really stand alone in the essence of it. But what they did is manipulated the mind and corrupted the soul and spirit of humankind and got us caught up in this vacuum of deception of being like clones, really, like the cyborgs on Starship Enterprise, or like everybody being connected to the mainframe of a computer. But we got to get away from that. We got to come into our own understanding of who we are culturally and spiritually as the original people on the planet Earth, as the original indigenous and aborigine on the planet Earth, and everybody come from us through our melanated, carbonated essence, and that we are the blessing. We are the righteous people on this planet Earth, but we just got to come out of the context of their thinking, of their indoctrination, of their mind manipulation. We got to realize what we're up against. The CIA, the NSA, the NSC, and all these people, and the school system, everything we up against, because it's against us. It's attacking us. You know, it's trying to kill us slowly with all their laboratory experiments, from Tuskegee Institute with the syphilis thing, and them creating AIDS in the laboratory in Fort Detrick, and all these diseases, mad cow disease, swine flu, and all this. They create all this stuff, and they experiment on us, and we continue to run in that Goebbels circular running wheel, going nowhere. We got to step off, come into my balance of our own culture and spirituality. We got to do this yesterday. We got to go in our communities and deal with our young brothers, our young adults that's manipulated to be at war with one another for a few measly fake fiat promissory notes that we exchange for materialistic stuff. And we got to purify our souls, our temples of and purify so that divine energy can fill it up, so we can live and see on the perspective of being beyond the five senses and immediate gratification and all that. In this chess game that they playing with us, in the political poker that they playing with us, but our being, our souls is the stakes that they got on the table. So we got to sustain ourselves for our children, the next generation of leaders. We gotta sustain ourselves, so whatever do come down the line, we be prepared to implement the next great civilization that we gotta establish. We gotta establish a foundation of an infrastructure to be ready for whatever come down the line. Be prepared. And I say with that, I love us as a people. With every breath of life that I have, I give it to our people to sustain myself, to be an intimate part of the development, growth and development of us as a people, stemming from myself with understanding of my universe, to be a righteous person, be a person that is about cultivating righteousness and divine perspectives according from our ancestors, to have to develop our communities, to develop the world, make a connection between us and every melanated persons or people on the planet Earth. I got you. She said, Elisa said they face you. I mean, they block you. I hear you. They getting ready to probably do the same to me because they always do it. But anyway, we still gotta do what we do because we know what they do. They're gonna try to block all energy, frequency, and vibrations of that divine nature, righteous nature, and try to implement because they control some of that to a certain degree, and rise up the frequencies or take down the frequencies that affect us in the music we listen to and all that, and what we view, it affects us because what we take in, we're going to put out in word, action, or deeds. But let's take in what we want to take in. Let's read what we need to read. Let's look at what we need to read that was going to uplift us and give us a better understanding of ourselves as a people, and make our connection with all people. And the last thing I want to say, if we can get a United States of Africa and control it, our brothers over there and our going over there, making that connection, because all the minerals that's over there operate everything on the world. That's why they killed Brother Gaddafi, because he was trying to get to a level of a United States of Africa. And the brother Mugabe, he better look out because he got the same perception. But he's being strong. He can be like Castro. Castro was right there and they couldn't touch him for all those years, and he died a natural death. But anyway, I say in life we live the life of love, for we should have a love for each other. All melanated people come together and heal together. Heal in peace, love, and understanding. Let's protect our children. Let's protect our elders. Let's establish communities. Let's be the entrepreneurs. Let's be businesses in our community. Let's do this like it's supposed to be done. As a people to love one another and put down that gun. Unless you're defending yourselves against our natural enemy. But we're not our enemy. We're not our natural enemy. Put down that gun. Pick up a book. Put love in your heart. Our young brothers, our young warriors, all across the country, all across the nation, all across the world. We got to come together and unify. Because if we don't, we will die by our own hands through self-inflicted genocide. And all that is suicide. We can't do that no longer, no more. In love, I speak to you. Divine love on the pathway of our ancestors. Love, peace, and understanding. Peace, power, and love with understanding of the universe, of the divine nature that's in us that we got to nurse back into being. Hug somebody, love somebody, tell them that they are somebody. We are everything in love and peace.